Yo, what is up, folks? It's your boy Sports PSP in the building. Welcome to the Sports PSP podcast. As you all know, folks, it's a podcast in which your boy Sports PSP discusses things surrounding the world of sports, news, entertainment, culture, and then some. Been a pretty interesting week, and first and foremost, we're almost in the 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to those. Hope everybody is enjoying the rest of their day, whether at the pool, at the beach, at the baseball game, at some barbecue event, or whatever. You know, just take some time off to yourself or whatever. Just be around friends and family, and just have a good time. Never take life for granted. Oh man, there's been a lot of interesting news surrounding the world of sports. And folks, if y'all want to hop on and add y'all perspective into the about what I'm about to discuss regarding the ESPN layoffs and the NBA free agency, I add the StreamYard link on the comment section below. So if y'all want to hop on, hop on. I want to talk about the ESPN layoffs. I was shocked. I was shocked with some of the layoffs. I was shocked with some of the people that was let go of ESPN. I'm reading an article here from Tom Tap of Deadline. I'm sorry. Says it right here. On the same day, ESPN ran special extended coverage of player comings and goings during NBA free agency. About 20 of the network's top on-air talent found out they would be on the move as well. A person familiar with the cutbacks told Deadline they are unrelated to the multi-round Disney layoffs implemented in recent months. The source indicated that many of those affected by the new cuts have contracts beyond June 30th and will be paid out accordingly, but parting ways will enable ESPN to avoid wider layoffs. Here are the people who was laid off: Jeff Van Gundy, Jalen Rose, Keyshawn Johnson, Max Kellerman, Susie Colbert, Chris Kaleos, Matt Hasselback, Steve Young, Rob Ninkovich, Neil Everett, Ashley Brewer, June Lee, LaFonso Ellis, Todd McShay, Jordan Cornette, Jason Fitz, and David Pollack. Susie Colbert, who's been with ESPN for 27 years, this is what she tweeted: "Today, I joined the many hardworking colleagues who have been laid off. Heartbreaking, but 27 years at ESPN was a good run. So grateful for a 38-year career. Longevity for a woman in this business is something I'm especially proud of. Next step, a project that gives back." This is what Ashley Brewer tweeted. "I am so grateful for my time at ESPN and the opportunity to host SportsCenter. I learned and grew so much as a broadcaster and person. I will really miss all the wonderful friends I made along the way. I know God has a plan for my life, and I look forward to what's next." June Lee tweeted, "My time at ESPN is over. Incredibly grateful for all the opportunities I received over the last 4+ years. I got to live out my literal childhood dream job, work with some of the most talented people, and made so many friends. Really excited to see whatever comes next." And ESPN released a statement regarding the layoffs. Quote, "Given the current environment, ESPN has determined it necessary to identify some additional cost savings in the area of public-facing commentator salaries, and that process has begun. This exercise will include a small group of job cuts in the short term and an ongoing focus on managing costs when we negotiate individual contract renewals in the months ahead. This is an extremely challenging process involving individuals who have had tremendous impact on our company. These difficult decisions, based more on overall efficiency than merit, will help us meet our financial targets and ensure future growth." So, here are my thoughts regarding the ESPN layoffs. I mean, it's unfortunate to all the people that was laid off. Jeff Van Gundy, I was shocked though. And it's going to hurt ESPN, particularly the NBA on ESPN, because you lose him. There's no, I mean, who's going to come in and replace him, folks? And plus, there's reports about the NBA on NBC. I hope he goes in that role. And Susie Colbert, who's been with ESPN for 27, 28 years, almost 30 years in this business. And she's been a great example for women. You know, it's unfortunate that she was let go, but I hope she lands back on her feet, as well as everybody else. Keyshawn Johnson been let go. And then, of course, Max Kellerman. You know, I believe Max Kellerman will be fine, because at the end of the day, I hope Showtime gives him an opportunity. Because when I look at Showtime, they, of course, they're covering boxing right now. And if anyone who knows the boxing business better than most, it's Max Kellerman. HBO on boxing is no longer there anymore. Max Kellerman used to work with, of course, the great Jim Lampley. Why not have Max Kellerman on Showtime? Let him have a podcast. Let him have his own show where he can discuss sports stuff. Before he was let go of ESPN, I thought he was good for ESPN First Take. I didn't like how the way Stephen A. Smith let him go of First Take. I thought Max was actually good because Max was really insightful. Max was sharp. Max was knowledgeable. And I think Max at Showtime would definitely help. Let him have his own podcast. Let him have his own show. Let him talk about boxing, because that's what Max does better than most. Talk about boxing. But it's really unfortunate for some of the people that all the people that was let go of ESPN. I hope that they land back on their feet. It's really unfortunate. I got some people that really want to add their opinion, but overall, I think Jeff Van Gundy will be fine. Whether NBA TV, and there's been reports about NBA back on NBC. If you want to hire somebody, hire Jeff Van Gundy, because he has the personality as well as the basketball knowledge. So it would be great and beneficial for NBC. But it's really unfortunate, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna add some people on right here. I got John Superman and I got Desto. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well.
What's up,
Desto, what's up,
PSP? I
man?
appreciate you having me on.
No problem, man. What's your
Yes,
thoughts
sir. I
about the
appreciate.
whole
You can hear me. You can hear
ESPN
me fine.
layoffs? No, we can hear you, brother. Desto, I'm gonna let you go first. What's your thoughts about the whole ESPN layoffs, man?
Oh, yeah. I kind of was expecting it. I mean, it's been rumored for some time. Some of the guys that they let go, like you speak about Max Kellerman, I thought it was very unfortunate for him. There's somebody that, I mean, I don't really watch ESPN as much as I did in the past, but somebody that I enjoyed watching. He was very entertaining. He was insightful. Jeff Van Gundy. I mean, he's been part of the ESPN broadcast for years. Like him, Mark Jackson, and Mike Breen. I just feel like they've been like a perfect trio. So it'd be kind of weird to see him not on there. Um, Jalen Rose, another guy as well that's been with ESPN for a lot of years. So I mean, it's just gonna be kind of weird when I watch the network,
Mm,
seeing a lot of different faces. Um, I guess they keeping guys who I guess keep viewers entertained. I don't know. I guess because I mean you got I know Perkins is still there. Of course, Stephen A. Smith. He kind of he is ESPN kind of at this point, so his job is definitely secure. But
he's
yeah,
the face
I'm
of
just saying it's
ESPN.
gonna be yeah he is. So I'm just saying it's gonna be pretty weird and like interesting to watch ESPN without those guys now for sure.
All right. We got another guest on the show, John Superman, my cousin Jonathan. How you feeling, man?
Good, man. It's been a minute. I've hit you a bunch of times because I wanted to get on the pod. I felt like the content you've been putting out has been great. I thought a lot of the commentary you've gotten from people that you put on has been great. Like Desto, I thought you gave a lot of just insight, especially about Jeff Van Gundy. I'm more on the NBA side. I coach
Mm-hmm.
basketball, so that side I'm interested. I've always been interested in broadcasting from the NBA side. And Max Kellerman, I wasn't shocked about. I I've always felt uncomfortable about some of his basketball takes. I've always felt that they had more shock value to them than
Mm-hmm.
having real like true value. Like I've heard him say that Kawhi was a more clutch player than Kobe, and it's like
Mm,
when you have those like ridiculous takes, it strays away from basketball now. And I
mm-hmm.
felt like with A. Smith, he wanted to bring a more serious um, tone to his show as opposed to it all being shot value. And I thought with JJ Redick having Kendrick Perkins on, like people who played the game made a lot of those takes more legitimate. So I was like, okay, like I understand the Max Kellerman move in a sense of him talking about like the game of basketball or football, because I don't feel like he is well versed in those sports, but boxing is like his thing,
He
you
is,
know?
which
Um,
is why I believe he will go to Showtime because they're not covering boxing. HBO no longer does that anymore. And what better voice than Max Kellerman?
100%. And as far as Jeff Van Gundy, it hurt because you got a guy that
Yeah,
has so much knowledge from the coaching side. I felt like, I'm not sure if you noticed, but Jeff was almost too honest on air. Like
he
sometimes, like he was,
was.
um, you know, the way that some of the rules, like some of the new NBA rules are sometimes you would just straight up say like they're terrible or their officiating's terrible. And I feel like sometimes being too honest on air isn't necessarily the best for the NBA brand. Um, I felt like that was more of a personal move because why would you put Jeff Van Gundy out? Like it was a very random. I don't want to call it necessarily a firing because at the end of the day, the NBA moves on. Like
Mm-hmm.
you know, Michael, where there was a Michael Jordan, there was a LeBron James. Where there's a LeBron James, I'm guessing there's going to be a Jokic or a Luka Doncic. So the game moves on regardless from the broadcasting side and from the game side. So I guess it sucks that we're getting older. We don't notice it. We're
Mm-hmm.
getting older, but we have these like personal relationships with a lot of these guys who have been here for 10, 15 years. But the younger generation, they don't know as much about Jeff Van Gundy as we do. Like they didn't have an opportunity to see him as the coach, the player. So we have a different relationship with Jeff than like the younger generation. So I think
Absolutely.
it is like, pushing into the new generation. That's more so like my take on why they're pushing some of these guys out.
All right, we got another guest on the show, Mad Max, man. How you doing, bro? I don't think Mad Max here is this. Mad
What's
Max, can
good?
you hear
Good.
me,
How
man?
y'all doing? How y'all doing?
What's up,
Good,
man?
man.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
talking
I
about
said,
the
what's good? How
ESPN
y'all doing?
layoffs.
Salute, Max.
Good, man. What's your thoughts about the whole
Nah,
ESPN layoffs, man?
they clean cap for Shannon Sharp.
True.
Nah, it's unfortunate. All the guys we watched growing up, I mean, them like that's our childhood. You know what I mean? That's what we watch. You know what I mean? Them guys, Stan Van Gundy, Jeff Van Gundy. We know them as how Tony Romo was doing the thing. Everybody was so excited about Tony Romo calling the plays out before they happened. Van Gundy been doing that. Like he would tell you what's gonna come and it's coming and it's coming. Like that's how much his insight was on the game.
All right.
But,
We got
and
another guest
Max,
on the show right here. Go ahead, continue, Mad Max. What's up, man?
I
What's
said,
going
and
on?
with Max, yeah, he needs to get his own boxing pod. He'll be good. Get his own boxing podcast. He needs because boxing too as much bad as God, I can't talk today. As bad as
I
we
think you
said,
were
boxing need
lagging
an
a little bit.
uplift.
All
Boxing
right.
need an uplift.
All
So
right. No, it's all good. Chris D, you came into the pod, man. What's up, man? What's your thoughts about the whole ESPN layoffs?
What's going on with everybody? Salute to everybody. Salute to Sports PSP. Mad Max. You know what's good. Desto. What's going on with y'all? What's going on with y'all boys?
what's good? What's
Salute,
good?
man.
Salute. But it doesn't really. Got you. Nah, in terms of the five.
Yeah, Chris, you lagging a little bit. I think you lagging. Um, but anyway, Chris, before we bring you back, here's my thing, folks. I don't know if
Or
you.
like staging like some
Oh.
kind of mutiny.
Yeah, we can hear you now, man. But go on, what you have to say, man. What's your thoughts about the ESPN layoffs?
Oh, okay, so y'all can hear me now. Okay, but so in
Yeah.
terms of what the actual layoffs, it doesn't really surprise me. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but a lot of like journalists, like they've been kind of going on strike. like throw some stories out. Like a lot of like
Hmm.
people like in the media just like aren't happy, and they've shared their discretions with the higher ups, and that's why a lot of people are like getting like laid off now. As far as like whether or not that's like one of the main reasons for people getting fired, it's kind of up in the air, but that's kind of what's floating around right now in terms
Mm,
of like the actual firing.
yeah. Fellas, I mean, it was predictable that was going to happen, that some of these personalities that was going to get let go, especially Max Kellerman. I don't know how y'all feel about this, but and I thought about it long and hard, but I got to bring up this person who currently works on ESPN, and that's Malika Andrews. And I got a problem with Malika Andrews. I think just looking at her and just doing all my homework and research on her, I felt like if there was a person that had to be let go, it would have to be her.
I did not
Because
like what she did with Brandon Miller. I hated that.
not just Brandon Miller, Chris D. I've had a problem with her with a lot of things, particularly the whole Ime Udoka situation, bringing up Joe Mazzulla's past, which had no relevancy regarding the whole Ime Udoka situation.
Just some real
It's kind
grinding.
that's my problem, and I don't know how y'all feel about this, but she clearly got a problem with brothers, meaning black men, and I just don't understand why ESPN would still keep her. I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash, but when I look at Malika Andrews, I thought what she's been doing over the past couple of years with Brandon Miller, Ime Udoka, um, the situation regarding Kendrick Perkins when Kendrick Perkins had his take, and then Malika Andrews cut him off. It just seems like to me, Malika Andrews, the person that should be let go is her. Because I feel like, what does she bring to the table? Max Kellerman, even though Nathan, you can bring up what he said about crazy takes, saying that Kawhi Leonard's the best player in the NBA, saying that Kawhi is a better player under pressure than Kobe. He did provide value. And before anyone wants to label and accuse me of being a misogynist or a sexist, there are a lot of other female people on ESPN or other networks that I have high regard for. There's Joy Taylor on FS1. There's Janie Taff of FS1 before Rachel Nichols at ESPN. Now I think she works at Showtime or whatever. But when I look at Malika Andrews, man, I look at her with a side eye. It's really hard to take her word. And like anytime when I turn on the TV and I watch her, I feel so turned off. So what's y'all thoughts about it? Nathan, I'm gonna let you go first.
Yo, the way you got started into that, I have me and you on the same page. My biggest issue is she's never played the game. So when I see her go back and forth with guys like JJ Redick, guys like Kendrick Perkins on their opinion about the game, it's disrespectful to guys that's played. You're a journalist. You have to allow these guys to speak their mind and allow them to actually educate us as viewers. Because at times she forgets she's the host. That's a big problem I have with her on the day to day. But the way she came for Joe Mazzulla about something that he did 10 years ago, 15 years ago, especially as a black man, where the way that we grow up um, isn't always ideal. We make mistakes, especially early on. Like, we've all come from different backgrounds. So to hold him accountable for something he did 15 years ago, when he's made so many good decisions since then, when he's worked so hard to get to a coaching position, when he's sacrificed obviously a lot to be able to change where his life was going, and you go back to something 15 years ago, that was painful to see. Just like it was like, wow, as a black man, you're still held accountable for something 15 years ago. As a kid, like he was 20 years old during this time. So um, I do think she has an issue. She doesn't understand that a lot of these sports players come from, you know, a lot of these guys, they came from the hood. They have one parent households. They were not perfect by any means. And they figured out a way to persevere and get to the NBA. A lot of these stories are very similar to Joe Mazzulla's. So I just don't think she understands the culture. And for me, because
Mm,
of that, she's not truly like representing black people when she's on that show, especially black women.
She
Mm. Go ahead,
she'll
Mad
never
Max.
get fired. She'll never get fired because she pushing the agenda that they want her to push.
Word.
She's the perfect person they got up there. She's the house. You feel me?
It's true.
She's the
All right.
It's true.
Um, Desto, what's your thoughts about Malika Andrews?
Um, I don't want to say anything too crazy, but I kind of second what my brother Mad Max said. I think I think she's a good host. I'm gonna say that. Like when I'm watching I think it's the NBA Today, that
Right.
show.
Yeah.
I think really good at that. I think she does that part of her job really well. There are some times that you spoke about, and I think Chris mentioned it, where I feel like she did kind of step out of line. Even the gentleman in the top middle, I can't remember his name, but he mentioned
Nathan.
about yeah, Nathan, you mentioned about Joe Mazzulla. I think it was some of that is like out of pocket, but I mean when we looking at it from a entertainment and the agendas that's wanted to be pushed by the media by the network, I think her job is pretty secure.
Do you think it's secure because of the fact that she's a female? Do you think it's secure because there are going to be those who feel like they agree with her? My problem with her is she just jumps to conclusions. Like with the whole Ime Udoka situation. Correct
Hmm.
me if I'm wrong, fellas. The report said it was consensual. That means
It
two
is.
parties played a role. He played a role, but the woman played a role. Now, again, Ime Udoka was wrong because he knew having a consensual relationship within the workplace was a violation of the protocol. My problem with
Yeah.
Malika Andrews, she's portraying Ime Udoka like he's a sexual predator, and I feel like that's wrong. Now, if
Hmm.
Ime Udoka was accused of sexual harassment or rape or whatever, and if there's conclusive evidence to prove that he did it, then fine. But it was consensual. So what am I missing?
Yeah,
I, what,
I agree with that point. I
yeah,
also I want to say I think like if I'm not mistaken, NBA Today it used to be the jump with Rachel Nichols, right? Like they
Right,
kind of
right,
converted the show, and like I think like when the pandemic happened and a lot of things came out about Rachel Nichols when she was talking about how when I think they gave I can't remember the other lady, but they basically let her cover the finals instead of Rachel Nichols. Then
right.
the ESPN wanted to move into a more woke approach. So that's another reason why I think like her job is good. Not to say she isn't great at being a host. Not to say she doesn't know about the game from a just a reporter's and an analyst point of
Right.
view. But I think
Mhm.
that's a part of the thing that makes me not surprised that she still has a job.
All right, Chris D. Any words you got to say regarding the whole thing with Malika Andrews?
The only two things I want to speak on when it comes to Malika Andrews is because one thing Desto did mention is that yes, sometimes she does forgets that she is a host, and the way she be talking to Perkins and like JJ Redick about their opinion on the game of basketball, a sport that they actually played. They battled through injury until the point where they felt like, oh, it's my time to retire. Their own experiences of the game
Okay. Nathan is.
and
Oh, I'm
she's
sorry,
just
Chris D. I think you're lagging, Chris D.
correct.
Nathan, is there anything you want to add?
I would say like, you
What's
know,
up?
if you're gonna have
What
someone
happened?
represent, you have to have
Uh,
someone that culture. You can't just have someone out there who's just a black face who she's operating like a white woman. When I look at her, it sucks to say that. Like I feel like I that's she's I wouldn't be able to tell she was black if I had my eyes closed. She has a white boyfriend. The way that she
Yeah, isn't it Dave McMenamin?
Yeah, but to me, I don't really care whether who she dates or whatever. If you're gonna be, at the end of the day, she's a journalist. So as a journalist, you're supposed to be objective. You're supposed to have the facts. You're supposed to like be truthful and honest to the public. And when I look at Malika Andrews, I look at her side eye because I feel like she seriously, when it comes to not just any men, but black men in particularly, she has an agenda. I mean, she did it with Brandon Miller when he's on the verge of becoming the number 2 pick in the NBA draft. She did it with Ime Udoka with the whole situation. Then with Joe Mazzulla, I mean, she seriously has an agenda for black men and for people who constantly want to defend her, like Jamel Hill. And I like Jamel Hill. You know, I like her content. I respect her work. I respectfully disagree with Jamel Hill when she says she doesn't have an agenda for black men, when you can just look at the evidence and it's far obvious to read between the lines. But I just feel like with ESPN, if anybody, and again, I look at Malika Andrews' side eyes. I just felt bad for all the other people like Jalen Rose and others. I think they'll be fine because when I look at Max Kellerman, given what he's done in the boxing business, he should be in Showtime. That's what I think he should be. Jalen Rose, on the other hand, let him have his own podcast. Let him do something. People are going to be tuned into what Jalen Rose has to say regarding basketball and a lot of other things. But fellas, before we move on to free agency, which out of the ESPN layoffs was more surprising to you? And Chris D, you go first. What was the more shocking ESPN layoff to you?
Bet. Hey, can y'all hear? Hey, can y'all hear me better now?
yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay,
can hear you.
bet. Bet. Okay, because I want to come back to that Malika Andrews thing, but because I had two things I wanted to say. But
Okay.
the most shocking one, realistically, it'd probably be the Max Kellerman one. The Jalen Rose one kind of doesn't surprise me because the whole armpit incident,
Oh
unfortunately.
yeah.
Yeah. So once that
Wait,
was on the table,
what armpit incident?
Oh, the
so
one
there
with
was
him and
a
Malika Andrews.
Oh, that was. I didn't even know that was. I thought it was overblown.
it was very overblown, and but some people took it seriously.
Right.
That's all I'm gonna
Because
say.
she's a woman and you know the whole Me Too movement and stuff.
I
It,
didn't know it was taken.
I gotta look that up. I don't know what incident that is.
Yeah,
no,
it's on
no,
YouTube.
bro.
If you
There's
just want to
so
look it
many.
up, just go on YouTube.
Like Jalen Rose had to literally come out with a reaction video,
Right.
saying like, "Hey, like none of that stuff was true." Like he had to literally go like on his live and like say like, "Yo, like, what you guys think happened didn't happen." Like it was that type of like overblown thing.
I didn't know that it actually played a role. I know that he came out with the like.
It
I saw.
could, yeah. But
I
Yeah.
that blown.
that one didn't surprise me as much though. But the Max Kellerman one, yeah, that was definitely yeah. But what do you
For
guys think about
me, it was oh
Oh, no, you
oh
good.
no, I was
Oh
gonna say
no,
for
I
me
was.
it was definitely
Go ahead, man.
Jeff Van Gundy.
Me
And that
too.
was
Yeah.
that was a huge surprise. I felt
Mm,
like a lot of the guys who
That was a
who,
big
who
one.
work who work like on the TV shows and in studio things like that. Um, I could see it, but Jeff Van Gundy, that was a huge surprise. I mean, I don't see anything like no negative reception to him instead of like like he clowning or whatever. But it's like it's funny, just to see like some of the random things he'll say during a broadcast or something like that. But it's been like that for years, and I think people love it. Like I grew up on that. Like I remember watching every single finals, him, Mike Jackson, Mike Breen, like every finals, and now it's I don't know. That one was like he was like very surprised.
All right. Nathan, what was the biggest ESPN layoff to you?
Same with I Jeff Van Gundy also because it felt so out of nowhere. I really like. some of his takes, man, he takes risks. Like I like that he seemed like he wasn't afraid of the media. He wasn't afraid of the of upper management when it came to some of his takes. So it made the game fresh. Without that, I can't imagine putting a new guy in his position because that's a coach. That's an ex coach, guy who's commentated for years. That's a guy who had a brother who was a coach in the NBA. So he has lineage. Like he just to have like a mind like that commentating and giving you game all the time, and then you replace him with who now? You know, that's my only like. I'm just confused on who's gonna be able to replace him. They'll keep that chemistry with the other guys. You know,
That might bring and Stan Van Gundy duo for the Knicks.
that was different.
Those Carmelo days. Those Carmelo days was something.
Mm-hmm.
That's been a minute
But the
since. Are you a
question
Knicks
is,
fan? Crazy man.
Oh nah. I'm a Orlando fan.
Okay,
Orlando Magic. What about y'all?
Knicks.
Oh,
Bulls.
okay. I like it. Carmelo, high key my favorite player. So if my Orlando Magic weren't winning, I'm like, let's go Melo. He hit those back-to-back threes on the Bulls. I'm like, ooh. I'm like, ooh, okay. Yo, this is. I'm like, yo, Melo might be top five. At least in that time. Like, I think we can have a conversation that Melo was top five at some point in his career. But that's a different conversation.
He played a little defense, you
I
know.
think
Then
Melo's prime. I think Melo's prime. His best was the year when he took Nuggets to the conference finals in the 08-09 season.
I agree.
That was
Yeah, that's
when,
fair.
I
yeah.
disagree, but
All right. So what was it?
I feel
2012,
like his
2013.
prime was. I definitely think it was with the Knicks. I think that was his prime to me
I thought he had
because
too much.
I feel like I'm sorry.
I thought he had too much freedom out there. I like that when he had that run with the Nuggets, he had some vets that he could. You know, he had Chauncey Billups there.
He had the steady point guard every
Bro,
time.
Well, yeah,
Every time he
I feel
made.
like that was his best. I feel like that was his best team for sure. But I mean, if you watch like Melo like throughout that season, I don't know. I mean, he wasn't. I don't think he was at his peak. Like I think when he battled like Kobe, he was. I feel like he had a couple good games against the Lakers. But I mean, like in totality, like throughout that 2012 2013 season, he was great. He was one scoring champion, I believe, and like he got the Knicks to like the second round, something like that. I feel like that was the best Melo. Like he was more efficient, he was more consistent. But you know, I can see why some people say that though.
And Melo was nice. In that Lakers series. Don't forget now, Game One gave y'all a little bit of a scare.
that's what I'm
Game
saying.
One was crazy.
He was.
I gotta agree with Parnell on this one, just because I thought there was a level of defense that he played on the Nuggets that was different, but because he had vets around him
hmm
or established coaching staff there, so it was a lot easier to get the most out of Carmelo on both ends. Even though offensively he was locked in as a Knick, but I felt like Carmelo's not a true vet. I never viewed him as like a veteran that could like lead the young guys to do the right thing. That's not who he is. So
Would
when
y'all think the best version, at least from like an athletic standpoint, is Carmelo on the Nuggets,
I think
athleticism wise?
more athletic as a Nugget to me, he started to get out of shape.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely more athletic.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
fair. That's fair.
All
Yeah.
right, fellas. Let's talk about some free agency. Of course, we heard about the Lakers acquiring Gabe Vincent. Did they sign Austin Reeves to the team? I
Not
forgot
yet.
because I know they
Got
signed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think they're
We
still working
agreed
out his
to sign
contract.
yesterday. They said it's gonna be like a four
all
year
right.
for like
All
54 or 4 year for 55
yeah.
yesterday.
right. So we know about that. We know about Gabe Vincent. We know about Rui Hachimura, 3-year, $51 million deal. They signed Jackson Hayes. Of course, with the Rockets, they got Fred Van Fleet, 3-year, $130 million. They also signed in Dylan Brooks, 4-year, $80 million. Kyrie Irving will still stay with the Dallas Mavericks, signed a 3-year, $126 million deal. Yesterday, it was reported by Adrian Wojnarowski and Ramona Shelburne of ESPN, as well as Chris Haynes of Bleacher Report, that Damian Lillard of the Portland Trailblazers is requesting a trade. So, what are y'all thoughts about free agency? Desto, I'm gonna let you go first. What's your thoughts, man?
Um, this free agency has been one of the more like how I say this nicely, least like talented. I think kind of dryish free agency. I don't think the off season itself has been boring. I mean, I feel like we got the Bradley Beal trade, which was a shocker. The Porzingis trade, the upcoming Damian Lillard trade. But as far as like free agents, I mean, it's not like in years past, like when Kawhi was a free agent or when LeBron was a free agent. Some things to kind of star player superstars being moved, but I have seen a lot of underpays and a lot of overpays. I'll say that in this free agency class. Um, the there's a few underpays that I saw. It was Austin Reeves. I'm gonna mention that one because a lot of people had Reeves projected to get like between like close to $100 million. I mean, of course, in a kind of like a poison pill contract, like a team will offer it, and the Lakers have to match it. So the Lakers will eventually be paying Austin Reeves like close to or maybe above 100 million. But I think once the market kind of like uh dried up. Fred VanVleet took that big contract from the Rockets. Brook Lopez got his deal, and I think after that, that's when everything really started to fall in place. And the Lakers were able to retain Reeves on a $50 million contract, which I think is a steal. Because when I watch Reeves, I see him as a guy
Yeah,
who
he's
who's bro, please don't walk in the street when I'm driving. My bad. Yeah, but I see him as a guy who's more like a 4 year 80 in that range. So when you get him like at that level, I think that's a steal. Also, Dante DiVincenzo, I think he's on a good contract with the Knicks. He's a very positive,
Mm-hmm.
winning player. I mean, he's some guy who he's a guy I wanted to I like my Lakers to look at. But nah, I love the contract that DiVincenzo got from the Knicks, and the overpay, it's two overpays, and they both on the same team. But I'm only mention one. I'm gonna say Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks for 4 years for 80 million. I think that's insane. I mean, you got to spend the money. I mean, I feel like they had a deal in place with Brook Lopez, and Brook Lopez kind of reneged on the deal and bounced back to Milwaukee. So they just threw the money at Dylan Brooks. That kind of what it looks like. But man, nah, I don't know. I feel like I don't think Dylan Brooks should be out the NBA like a lot of people are talking. But I don't think he's a 4 year, 20 million a year guaranteed type player. But I don't know. Maybe he's gonna be back. He's gonna be with a coach that he may respect. Maybe he can get back to his game that he was at like a few years ago when he was more efficient. Because he is still a great defender, but I think that's a huge overpay. Him and Fred VanVleet. But at least VanVleet, like he brings you some value. Like I think he's a positive on the court. But with Dylan Brooks, I don't know, man. Like from what I seen last year,
Well,
bro, he looks like a negative on the court. So I
I
think I
want to
think
yeah,
that's
talk
a
what's
about.
steal.
up? What's up, sports? What's up, sports? But
What's up, Bull
what makes
Scream?
you say that? Like Dylan Brooks, he's still like one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Respectfully, I think.
Also,
No,
just
I'm
my
with you
fault.
on that.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree. He is one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. But what if you just offer me only perimeter defense and you're a negative offensively? Who's on that type of contract?
But you know what I
I
agree
Like
with.
understand.
nobody.
Yeah, I get you. But that like that's just 1 year though of his career. All the other years he wasn't this bad offensively. It
Well,
could
I
just
mean,
be a
he's
bad
been
year or a
trending.
down year.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's been kind of, I guess, the past couple years, he's been kind of trending in that way. Maybe it's just due to the lack of touches and volume that he's been receiving because they have Desmond Bain now, who kind of took his shots in a way, which rightfully so. Desmond Bain is a great player. Shout out to him for getting that bag too. But yeah, I mean, he going to the Rockets. Jalen Green has to sign. I mean, he gonna play great defense. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking that away from him. He is a heck of a defender. Um, I think he's first team, second team. I don't know. Don't matter. But I mean, he's
I think
great.
it was second.
But
Yeah, it was great.
yeah, but to just for your, I mean, your best quality perimeter defense that's needed. But to have 80. $80 million committed to you for 4 years, and you like you a negative offensively, like you're not even like neutral. I don't know.
Desto, I
I
Yeah.
don't
feel
love
you
that.
on that. I really do.
Yeah. So
But
here, I feel you,
the
but like the
contract,
cap
I
is
think,
going up. So like let's say a
Yeah, I get
realistic
it.
contract for Dylan Brooks, right? Is like what 15 million, 14 million. That's how much he probably worth. But
if
since
we're
Yeah,
that
being
cap is
for
going
me,
up,
realistically,
the
Troy
new the
Brown is
20
making
million
four
is the new
years,
14 million.
$64 million a year. Troy
yeah,
Brown.
I feel like, but
For me,
Yeah.
I think
it's
that's
also
that one's
And
crazy.
it's also
that's
it's also the
the league
commitment though.
values those
Troy
dudes.
Brown,
I if
64 million is
hold on.
insane, Desto.
If Dylan Brooks can shoot 35% from three, the league values those 3-and-D guys the most. That's why they get paid
Yeah,
so
but he
much.
don't.
That's why Patrick Williams. This is why Patrick Williams probably gonna get like 100 million because he provides the three ball and he provides great defense.
Plus, we got to
They value the
A
NBA
hundred mil.
values that a lot.
I
yeah.
don't know about 100 mil now.
Yeah, but
Now
That's
they're
a
but
gonna
Dylan
exception.
Brooks don't.
Pat Will gonna
But
get paid.
Dylan Brooks don't even shoot 35%.
But I pretty hasn't he shot 35% in the past though? Hasn't
Yeah,
he shot
he
right?
has,
So
but
if he
I mean,
we got to remember
yeah. I
where,
mean, yeah. I think a couple years ago.
but he went
right,
to
he can do it again. Under it.
Okay. I feel that maybe yeah. He can bounce back.
yeah,
He can.
Nathan, you said
I can
you
see
were
that.
going to say something, Nathan?
yeah. The only thing I wanted to say, we got to remember the thing that Houston is missing is a culture, right? At the end of the day, Dylan Brooks
Yeah.
plays really hard. At the end of the day, Fred VanVleet plays extremely hard. They're both two-way players, and I think they're going to bring a level of leadership and competitiveness in the locker room. I think for practices, you're going to see a different look with those guys. And I think in a locker room like that, where you're seeing, you just got a bunch of kids there, like there's just no vets there. I think it helps to have those guys come in. Dylan Brooks, I wouldn't call him a negative because, bro, at the end of the day, he averaged near 20 points a game for a year. I can't necessarily say I, like who knows? He really can have like a big year next year offensively. At least shoot fairly well from the field. Like I don't think he's going to repeat 40% from the field. Um, Fred had a bad year shooting, but we know how it was in Toronto. Like we know, like for the entirety of the year, we kind of were wondering whether or not he was going to get traded. I'm not sure if that had an impact on his play, on the way they used him in the offense. Scotty Barnes was handling the rock a lot. It kind of changed his role a little bit in the offense. So I think we gotta. I think Fred is cold. They got overpaid, but because they went to Houston and Houston needed that, it's like, hey,
Yeah.
Houston needed that.
All right.
Well, this is my thing. Well, I just want to respond real quick to what he said. Um, I hear what y'all saying about Brooks. Maybe he can bounce back to the play he was in terms of efficiency, like 3 years ago. But my thing is the commitment. Like you commit 4 years to this guy. If, to me, I feel like he should have been on at least like a 2 year prove it type deal. That's my thing. Like you showing a huge commitment of $80 million
Mm.
dollars. Like let's say he repeats that, then the contract that's a bad contract because it's not expiring, and um like you can't move him. So I don't know. I at least would have put him on like a prove it deal
It's
personally.
still
And you're
better
gonna
than
pay
Ben
him
Simmons'
like 20 million
contract.
a year.
That's for sure. Way better
Okay,
than Ben
yeah, I
Simmons.
agree with that.
Hold on,
I
cause
agree with
Way
like
that.
better than
what's
Ben
Oh
it?
Simmons.
my God, we gotta
Br-
bring up Ben Simmons.
He plays well. They
Hmm.
get they give him a prove it. God forbid he plays well. Now you got to pay him 30 mil. So
Nah,
Facts.
hell nah.
there's the other
Nah,
side.
not 30. Not 30.
But he would never get that. But
Hell
probably
nah.
like an opportunity.
So at
No,
least
I
30.
thought it was a good deal for Houston. To be honest, I don't know
I
about
do
20
too.
million, but I
Oh
think it was a great pickup.
yeah,
Fred VanVleet, man, he got overpaid.
he
Like
got paid a little.
43 million is insane.
Bro, he shot
Like,
40% from the three this season. And he's supposed to be known like as a shooter. That's crazy.
Hey man, if you can shoot like that in today's game, you are very beneficial. Fellas, Coach Dante, anybody who knows him knows he is H-Town, Texans, Rockets, stuff like that, man. How you doing, man? And what's your thoughts on free agency?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So, shout out to all of y'all up on the panel, man. Want to say thank y'all so much for having me on. But Dylan Brooks for 3 straight years down there, he shot 37, 35, and 35%. So he has some stretches where he can shoot well. And Fred VanVleet contract is actually it's a third. It's not guaranteed he gets the third year. So that's a pretty
Oh,
solid
it's a
contract.
team option. It's a team
Yeah, it's
option
a
the
team
third
option
year.
in the
No,
third
it's
year.
two
Oh,
plus
okay,
one.
okay, okay, okay,
So
okay.
they can get off of it his second year. They can get up off of it becomes pretty tradable. But other than that, I think it's a productive all season for my Houston Rockets. One thing about Ime Udoka, everybody's going to have to work for their spot. Josh Christopher then wasn't going to be a part of this team. They weren't going to be playing long term. KJ Martin been wanting out of Houston since last year, so it was only right for trade him. And Ty Washington, who, I mean, it broke my heart for him to be traded. I really thought I would have saw him as a point guard of Houston, but he hasn't got too many opportunities. He hasn't got no opportunity. I mean, we had bum ass Station Knicks playing right in front of him who shouldn't have got any minutes at all in front of Ty Washington whatsoever. So
Insane.
other than that, Josh Christopher could have been a microwave scorer right off the bench. That guy could really score, but you know his growth was pretty stunted by Steven Silas, who is the worst coach in
Facts.
not even really even close. But other than that, we got culture in the locker room. We got Fred VanVleet. I mean, Fred VanVleet, I know his shooting numbers were down, but Toronto was not really a good shooting team outside of OG Anunoby. They were not really a good shooting team. So that was a lack of spacing right there. And it's gonna get better. It's gonna get it better. I really like that Jock Landale deal too. He was when he was on the floor for Phoenix actually played better when he was on the floor for Phoenix. So it's an underrated moves by the Houston Rockets. And Jeff Green also championship caliber guy, brings in culture as well, played big minutes, savvy veteran. So I like the moves I pretty much like the moves that we did, and I like the direction going in. And Memphis, Dylan Brooks left Memphis Grizzlies alone. I know the report came out that they didn't want to bring him back, but the culture overall, Dylan Brooks divorced Memphis because the culture was not great in the locker room. A lot of guys in the locker room, they wasn't happy with their situation. So it wasn't a Dylan Brooks thing. Dylan Brooks, it wasn't accountability in the locker room, dealing with Ja Morant on and off the court issues. And the issue went before on Dylan Brooks. It was way worse than Dylan Brooks and how people made it seem it was a Dylan Brooks thing in Memphis. I want a guy that's kind of rugged, that's kind of tough, that kind of try to get up under guys' skin. I want a dog like that that's going to go out there and fight. Yes, he didn't have a great playoff series against the Lakers, but he went down with a fight, and that's a guy you need. That's a guy you want on your basketball team.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all had to spend the money too. I think the new CBA, y'all had to spend 90% of it.
Yeah.
So
Desto,
hold on. Sports, my phone for the die. I want to get this one
good.
thing.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, Bulls fan.
I mean sports. So for my phone die, I want to talk about the Lakers. And man, I think the Lakers are title first after this offseason. But they've been cooking, bro. They've been cooking.
They had a really good free agency, man.
They got Gabe, J Hood. Who else? They brought back Rui, Austin,
Torian
and
Prince.
Debo,
They got Torian
and
Prince.
got
Few other
Torian
guys.
Prince. Jesus
Torian
Christ,
Prince.
man. They are tough, man. They are tough.
Rob
And
Pelinka
also,
has done it again. He's done it
yeah,
again. That's
You know,
son of a
sports.
gun.
Also, the Bulls filed a disabled player, so we get 10 million in cap from Lonzo's contract. So now we have 10 million in cap we can spend on a free agent. So who's still available? You think we can get?
All right, Desto, my man, how you doing, bro? And what's your thoughts regarding free
I w-
agency?
I was just here. I just switched. I was driving, and I just got on my thing. Nah, can y'all hear me?
yeah.
Yeah,
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 we
no,
can hear you.
I was just here. Like I had the hold on, I don't know if you can. I had the Tatum in the Lakers jersey pictures. I already gave my thing.
No, but
All right.
you got like when he was talking about the Lakers, I want to go off that. Only thing I don't like about they have too much depth. Like it's hard to coach depth. I don't think people realize like sometimes when you're trying to figure out those lineups and you know you can go 10 deep, it's hard to figure that out. Like even though they had excessive depth, it was difficult for them to figure out like, okay, who are we going to start with? Like I saw Austin Reeves started, like D'Lo came off the bench a couple of times. Then after that, you had Rui Hachimura come in. And I feel as a coach, you're like, I can't keep everybody happy. Like there's always going to be somebody who's getting less touches or somebody that's out of position. Like Lonnie Walker, out of rotation. I'm like, all these guys can play. So I wish the Lakers got like a starish player, someone that you know is definitively going to start, where you're not coming into like the season like, okay, who am I going to start with, as opposed to like this team where I'm like, Rui Hachimura is supposedly in the starting lineup, but I don't really know. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
think the
like
depth though is good. I think
I
the
think the
depth,
depth.
realistically, I think it's good for them because I don't trust AD to go through a full 82 game season, and and let's be real, LeBron's health is it's starting to it's starting to teeter a little bit. Like he's coming down a little bit, but he's still gonna be great. Like, can you count him to play 65 games during the regular season? Both AD and LeBron, me personally, no. But with that extra depth that they're going to have, no, they're going to have Torian Prince, Rui, Austin Reeves is going to be getting some big time minutes. They moved off of Troy Brown, so there's certain guys that they just got rid of that they weren't going to use in the future. I mean, they got Jackson Hayes for whenever he has to start at the 5, and AD was talking about getting the 5-man for like the longest time, and now if he is their 5-man, or even if he's coming off the bench, like that's finally some depth, and that can finally have someone who can kind of at least be in that 5 spot, and AD can go back to playing his tradition where he wanted to play the 4 and play more of like a help side roamer. So I think this team is legit, unfortunately, but yeah, I do think that they're one of the best teams in the league
You
right
can't stand
now.
the
You gotta
Lakers,
give it
can
to
you?
them.
Yeah, they look good
Rob
on paper.
Pelinka did his thing, man. Rob Pelinka, God bless him. God bless him indeed.
He's proven, he's shown. I mean, people got to give more credit to Rob Pelinka when it gives credit too. I mean, around the NBA, people don't like him, but hey, you got to give him credit for what he's done as far as getting the players around him. I think, other than the Lakers, I like what the Rockets have done, Coach Dante, because in the draft, you stole Cam Whitmore. I mean, this was a guy who was projected to go top 10 in the draft, and he fell all the way to the Houston Rockets. So you stole him. Dylan Brooks, I mean, even though he didn't play well, particularly in the playoffs, but I do like the fact that he can give you the perimeter defense. I think he'll have a better season because there's nowhere to go but up for him. And I think with Ime Udoka as the head coach, I think he'll do a good job utilizing the team. So if you're Houston, this is very intriguing for you. As the Lakers, I thought they did well in the free agency. I thought they were the best team because you get Rui Hachimura, 3-year, $51 million. You get Gabe Vincent, 3-year, $33 million. That's like 11 per year. So you add a shooter to the team. You add Torian Prince. Jackson Hayes, I like, but you're not going to ask AD to play as much as the 5. He'll play a little bit of the 4. But I like what the Lakers have done. And then when I look at Dallas, we're going to talk about Kyrie in just a sec. 3-year, $126 million. Kyrie would be stupid to pass up on that money. And on top of that, you add Seth Curry into the mix, who's familiar with Kyrie and with Luka and with the Mavericks. You added another shooter to the team because you know how Luka is when it comes to on the ball. He's great on the ball. He's just not so great off the ball. So you add another shooter to the mix. Let me add my another person to the mix.
What's up? What's up?
Dev, man, what's up, man? How you
What's
feeling,
up?
man?
I'm feeling good. Sorry for being late. I literally just got home from work and all that stuff. I was rushing and everything, so it's my fault.
Lou Dev.
What's up? What's up?
What's up,
Yeah.
good man? But what's your thoughts regarding free agency, man?
Um, I'm gonna like the Lakers are most definitely winners. I kind of see the route they're going. They're trying to build up depth so to guard them. I think that's what the new NBA is now. Basically, 2 stars and depth because that's what, especially with the new CBA going. I think Lakers are doing a very good job, especially now when now they have a serviceable team when LeBron leaves now because they have young guys like in Jay Hood, Austin Reeves, Vando. They have young guys and also trade pieces and that can increase their value. Um, I was liking Houston I was liking Houston draft, but they kind of overpaying a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. They spend a lot of money because I think the problem with the Fred VanVleet is because he had such a bad year. If he didn't have a bad year, then the money went. He's getting paid more than Kyrie, so that's kind of like baffling to me.
40%.
Yeah. So
40%.
and
Crazy.
I like the Dylan Brooks pickup. I know people like to trash Dylan Brooks, this, that, but he's still a good defender, and I think he'll fit good in Ime. I just think they overpaid a little bit too much, and luckily it's a team option, so he doesn't have to stay that long, and they could trade him. What else happened? Did Brook Lopez get picked up yet or no?
Yeah, he
He
signed 2 years
resigned. He
Oh, he
resigned.
re-signed
with the
with the
Bucks.
Bucks.
Yeah, with the Bucks.
That's just an
Yeah,
L. I want him to leave.
Bro, and I saw it came out today that
that's
the
big for Milwaukee though.
Yeah. He rejected the Houston offer. You know
yeah,
why he rejected that stuff? Let me not say it. Let me not say it.
Why? What is that?
because of a recent
Now go ahead, say it, man.
viral video.
Cause he saw that Jalen Green video. That's
Oh
right.
yeah,
That's right. He
I'm
declined
sorry.
it.
Listen, I mean this in the most respectful way possible. The Houston Rockets can't talk shit to any team. They cannot, because when they start, they gonna bring up that video and they gonna talk shit about Dylan Brooks poking the bear.
And
Those three
actually,
alone, is a meme. Is a meme. That's pure comedy. So
other
they
than
can't
that,
talk shit on the floor. They can't.
other than that, this
It's
free
gonna be
agency.
nasty.
Other than that,
Hella
this free.
nasty.
Other than that, this free agency doesn't have like a lot of drama really because it's not like that many big names. But I do like the moves teams are making. I'm disappointed in my Hawks and the Thunder not so much because we're a young team. The Hawks I wish would have made one move or something like that. Who else got picked up that's big?
Man, you traded John Collins. You wanted
No,
John
that's good. That
Collins
was good. That
out
was
of there.
good. That was good. I thought
Yeah.
we were gonna get Kuzma. I thought we were gonna get Kuzma, but Kuzma re-signed for a lot of money, so that makes sense. Um, Other than that, and also I'm gonna send you a link. I'm gonna send everybody a link. If you guys in the Discord, you'll find it to this video about the Marcus Smart trade and why it will be why it's actually better that he's off the Celtics than he's on the Celtics. And broke it down.
I
I'm
agree.
like, because
I
the
agree with
reason
that.
why is because the turnovers. Because I didn't realize his turnover ratio is really bad compared to like other league guards, and he lacks certain skills sets to be the lead point guard. And in a video break it down how he actually kind of cost them some games in a way with
I
his
agree.
decision making.
Mhm.
But other than that, I think his free agency was pretty good. I like it, and now we all we already know what we all waiting for the Dame trade. We just waiting on this
Yeah, and
Dame
we're
trade.
actually going to discuss about that right now. I just read the report. According to Chris Haynes of Bleacher Report, as well as Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN and Ramona Shelburne, Damian Lillard has requested a trade. And fellas, I feel like the best team that should get him is Miami. They already lost Gabe Vincent. Not only that, you also lost Max Strus. Max Strus, I think he went to Cleveland. So they need another playmaker and shooter to complement Jimmy Butler. And if not Miami, where else would you like to see Damian Lillard to? Milwaukee to pair him up with Giannis, with him and Drew, or Philadelphia because James Harden picked up the $35.6 million option. The Clippers and the Knicks, according to Woj, are the two teams that are expected to trade him. So, Nathan, I'm going to let you go first. Where do you think Damian Lillard should go to?
I mean, he has to go where he's comfortable. I think for him, comfortability is big. That's why he stayed a Trailblazer. He wants to play where he likes his guys. He likes the movement. Like, that's his thing. So I think he goes and he plays with a Pat Riley. I think he takes advantage that you're not paying income taxes there. You know what I mean? So he's taking in that money. The only thing that I don't like about the Miami trade for me personally is you put there's still a lot of pressure on those guys to score because you lost depth. Like you lost Max Strus. You're probably gonna have to lose Tyler Hero at least to be able to get Damian
Yeah.
Lillard. You don't have depth anymore. Damian great to me. Like as far as being like the number one option on the championship team, because we saw Jimmy Butler falter in the finals. Like he didn't even look at the rim in the finals. Like I really question his ability to be able to take the mantle when Damian's not hitting shots because Damian is a volume shooter to me. He's one of the greatest to do it. But at the end of the day, like when you cut down his shots a bit and you fit in like some shots for Jimmy Butler, like does he look the same? Is he the same Dame if he's not taking 25, 30 shots? I'm not sure. So like we're gonna really see him tested as far as like how great is he really when he's not the number one option. We're not running every action through you. We're not allowing you to take any shot you want. Like, you think if he takes a 40-footer playing with Jimmy Butler and Pat Riley's offense, he's going to be a little bit like, So that's
All
why
right.
I'm at. We'll see what happens.
All right, before Chris, I let you give your opinion. Shouts out to the Big Ox Bob. Thank you for the comments, man. If you want to hop on the StreamYard, hop in. And of course, man, Primo, appreciate you, man. Appreciate all your support. But Chris, I'm gonna go with you, man. What's your thoughts about the news regarding Damian Lillard? I felt like it should have been time for him requesting a trade. And which team would you like to see him being traded to?
In my opinion, they should have made this trade after. They're making this trade 2 years too late. They should have made this in 2021 when they went up against the second round against the Nuggets and they got swept. That should have been the time. Like, okay, let's start the rebuild mode. Like, it's about to like because they went to the Western Conference. If you get swept going back, there's a problem. There's a shift that has to be made with in that team. It's not like you losing in like 6 or 7 games in a previous round. No, no, no. You got swept. Like, no, at that time, they should have changed it. 2022, he was injured. No, didn't even make the playoffs. 2023, still not making the playoffs. So, the whole preaching the loyalty thing, I just never bought it. I just never thought it was one of those things where it's like, it was a big deal. Like if you move on, you move on for better opportunity. And we've seen that guys that move on to other free agency moves, like we've seen failed super teams. We've seen failed super teams. We've seen them try to come up with in the ranks. We saw the Brooklyn Nets. We know everything that was going on with them. That was a failed super team. Both the one with KD, Kyrie, and Harden, and then the one with Paul Pierce, KG, and and that entire team was like Darren Williams and Brooke Lopez. Like there have been some failed super teams. Even the OKC, Paul George and Carmelo, that was labeled quote unquote a super team. So I don't know. It's like if he's gonna go out, he's gonna have to prove it. And I don't know if Miami has enough realistically to get him, not without moving off either Jimmy or Bam. I just don't see what pieces Miami has. I just don't. Now let's moving out one of them. And do I trust Dame and Butler with maybe some G Leaguers again? And without Bam to go to the NBA Finals? I mean, can I trust Bam and Dame Lillard as a duo to take me through the East? I don't know, but I gotta see it.
All right. Dev, I'm gonna let you go. What's your thoughts about the news regarding Damian Lillard? I guess he didn't hear me. Desto, how do you feel, man, about Dame Dollar?
So yeah, I was actually on Ox's stream last night. We was talking about it. I felt like it was. I'm not mad at him, honestly. I think he had I guess it's a conflict of interest now with the organization. Now that this is the best asset that they had in years. You had his number three overall pick. That Dame, obviously he wanted to stay in Portland, but he wanted to use the pick to try to bring in somebody who's reliable, somebody that's gonna help him out, like maybe an all-star, star caliber player to help them make a real push in the West. Instead, they went with the option to draft Scoot Henderson, their point guard of the future, for their rebuild. And now Dame, I guess he wants to take his talents elsewhere, and that's kind of how I look at it. Some people, I mean, I was on Oxy stream last night. Me and Ticket was kind of getting into it because he was saying, "Oh, Dame running from the grind." He criticized a lot of players, but I feel like even as a man, and when you watch like things happen like over time, things change. Like you aren't as like how can you still be committed to this organization when they obviously moving in a different direction? Your career, you in the prime of your career, you're not getting any younger, So I mean, that's kind of how I look at it with Dame, and him choosing to go to Miami. I think that's a great option for him. I feel like they still need to fill in some other pieces of the roster because when you trade him, you're gonna lose some shooting. You already lost some shooting to free agency. So that's another thing. But I do think the trio Dame, Butler, um, Bam with the coach Eric Spoelstra with their front office, I think they can piece together a contended team if that's where he arrives. So I'm not mad at Dame for requesting a trade. I actually think it's a bit overdue, but
Yeah.
I understand it now.
I don't. I disagree with Ticket when he says Dame is running away from the grind. I mean, if anybody who's shown loyalty to an organization, that's Damian Lillard. I mean, I think it's best for him at this point. To your point, Desto, he needs to go somewhere else. He's given 11 years to that organization. They just drafted Scoot Henderson with the third overall pick. They want to move on and go forward with him. So if you Dame, why not go elsewhere to put yourself in the best position possible to compete for a championship? So I mean, if Dame is concerned about what people say about him running away from the grind, to them, I just disregard that because at the end of the day, I'm not getting any younger. I've made enough money in my NBA career. I care about putting myself in the best position possible for a championship. So if he wants to go to Miami to pair himself with Jimmy Butler, do I think they'll win a championship? Probably not. I still think they will compete though, because in the East, I mean, we've seen them compete without Damian Lillard. Miami speaking against Boston. With him there, I think it would be beneficial. So we'll see on that. But before Brandon from the block, I appreciate you for hopping on to the podcast. I'm gonna let you get your takes regarding everything. But Coach
For sure.
Dante, what are your thoughts regarding Damian Lillard, and where would you like to see him be traded?
I'm with it. Like I like to see him be traded to any top contender in the NBA, including Miami. I know Miami is his first choice, but he should have been out of there after he lost the Western Conference Finals to Golden State. After they blew all game, every game down there in the fourth quarter. I thought it was time to blow it up at that time. It was clear that him and CJ as a backcourt wasn't going to win the NBA title together, wasn't going to go no further. I thought it should have been blown up then, but he gave, like you said, he gave 11 years to the organization. He put the team on his back, even when they lost early in the playoffs. He did all he could, and it sucks to be Jeremy Grant. It really sucks to be Jeremy Grant to get that 5-year deal, 160 mil, and all of a sudden Dame asked out. But he should have been put pressure on the organization, and I'm just happy for Damian Lillard and Dale. Take care of my boy Tata Washington. Please take care of him. Take care of him for him.
All right, Dev, what's your thoughts, man?
Um,
Can you hear us?
yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. So same thing. Like he gave up. He been in the league since 2012, right? For a
Yeah,
long time.
11
For a long
years.
time.
Yeah.
11 years. So he gave his all. So like, and I'm not, and no one should be mad at Damian Lillard for leaving at all because like it's not like he stuck through it. Like he went to Marcus Aldridge, CJ McCollum, Anthony Simons, and it's just the team just like and like the team just not good enough to win the championship. They can make the playoffs probably be first or second round, but Dame gotta think about it like this. He's 32. He doesn't have a lot of years left. So like Dame's just making the best decision. Like, hey, I want to win. He's always been about winning, and like in life, you want to put your best. You want to put yourself in the best situation to succeed. So like, let's say you're at home. You've been living at your hometown your whole life, but you have an opportunity in like Detroit, Houston, or Chicago. Yes, you don't want to leave. It's heartfelt, but this is the best opportunity you have. Sometimes opportunities like this don't come, and Dame wants a championship, and we all know We all know Dame's one of the greatest point guards of all time. But championship will help him add on his resume, and like so many other players that don't. A lot of players don't get this opportunity. So like, I'm happy for that Dame is finally made it. Should have happened 2 years ago, but it's here now. So hopefully he goes to Miami. I think that's a good location. I think Philly's another good destination for him. And I heard rumors about um Brooklyn, but I think Brooklyn's just a plateau because if he's on Brooklyn, it's not gonna do nothing. It's probably at most second round, especially in this East. Because yes, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson are good, but like that team's still not gonna be good enough to make it to the finals, in my opinion. I think Miami with that culture, the coaching, and their play style most definitely be over the top end. And you never know. You never know. They could win it, but they could lose it. So I just want Dame to be the best situation to win. And not only that, I'm happy for Scoot Henderson now because I'm like it wouldn't have made sense for Dame and Scoot. Like
Right.
you have a top 3 guy, you're gonna bench him. Like we're not gonna see him. So now we get to finally see Scoot Henderson kind of like a new wave in Portland. I think that's what Portland needed. So they have a nice young core: Scoot, Shannon Sharp, and Anthony Simons, a veteran in Jeremy Grant. I still think they need to trade Nurkic. I still think if I'm Portland, I would trade him, probably get some draft assets or something out of it. But I think Portland will. I don't think Portland's gonna be a bottom of the barrel team. I think they'll be like an 11, 12 seed.
All right. Brandon, my
No,
man, what's your...
that's
Oh,
still
go
low
ahead,
though.
Dev.
No,
Oh,
I'm
All
saying
can
right.
y'all
that's still low,
can y'all
but
hear
I
me?
think competitive.
No, we can hear you, brother. What's your thoughts regarding the news about Damian Lillard requesting a trade? What's your thoughts about that?
It's about damn time. I mean, it's time for him to get traded. You know what I'm saying? More than people want to talk about him, like what they say about him not stick going to the grind and stuff. People wanted this man to leave. Now they trying to switch up on him. You know what I'm saying? So like, it makes no sense. But on me personally, I would like Dame to go to Miami. Um, I think a sleeper team though that people not really talking about is Milwaukee. Think him
Yeah, I like
with
that.
the
Yeah.
with the Bucks. I think I don't give up Drew Holiday, give up Allen or somebody like that and some picks. You know, send them to Milwaukee. 'Cause I would love to see Dame and Giannis together. But yeah, man, I'm happy for
Mm.
Dame. Hopefully he goes to a team that fits him. I
All
want to
right.
see Dame win. Yeah, so yeah.
Now let's talk about some interesting moves on free agency regarding one Russell Westbrook. He signed a 2-year, what was it, $7.88 million contract with the Clippers. So I think with this deal, I think the reason why he signed it because look, maybe he could have found money elsewhere, but I think he wants to finish his career as a Clipper. He's from LA. I thought he played well in the postseason, other than games 1 and game 5 in terms of shooting the ball. But Russ still has enough in the tank. Desto, I'm gonna let you go first. What's your thoughts about the deal?
Well, when I watched Westbrook on my Lakers last year, I was thinking like, nah, this dude needs to be on like a minimum contract. I was hating a little bit. I ain't gonna cap. But when he got to the Clippers, when he got on the team, more suited for his play style, um, and he wasn't taking up a lot of cap space like he was with the Lakers. He was making like 47 million compared to him being on the minimum. When a team that has shooters, a team that has they 2 stars who can play off ball, he looked a lot like um a quality player in the league. And I feel like his market was more like multi-year, maybe like 50 to 60 million in totality for like maybe like 3, 4, 5 years, something like that. But he really wants to be in LA. He enjoyed his time with the Clippers. He gets to stay in LA. He made a lot of money throughout his career. So right now it's not about money for him, it's about winning. And I think he's picked a very good situation for him. He looked great with the Clippers. Not gonna lie, he looked great. Especially they could have made a playoff run if they stars were healthy, and he was playing well with the shooting around them. The coach was able to put him in situations. He trusts being coached
Hallelujah.
now. Like he can be taken out of the game and put back in the game situationally. And I think that's a good contract for the Clippers to get him on. So I'm happy for the. Am I echoing or something?
No, you're not. I think it's coming from somebody else, but continue, man.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just saying I like the situation that Westbrook has put himself in. He gets to stay home in LA, get a training camp in with the Clippers, which is important to build chemistry and camaraderie with those guys. And if they stay healthy, they're gonna be a force in the West. But that's a huge if with them. But no, I'm happy for us. I mean, it's a short contract, but I mean, you know, he sacrificed to win. So
Right.
I
I
like
think
it.
it's good. I think it's good for us because again, Kawhi and PG, their problem is durability, and when you lose those two, who else is going to provide the scoring? So of course you got to keep
Facts.
Russ with that. So, Chris, can you hear me, man?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, what's up? What's your thoughts about the Clippers with the 2 year, 7.8 or $8 million deal on Russ?
Honestly, because listen, I be trolling with the James Harden thing, but no. Realistically, in terms of like for Westbrook's contract, I mean, I think it's good for him. Realistically, it's something I didn't really care about too much. I'm not even gonna hold you. It's just one of those things. Just like okay, like guy's a little money. He's still playing. He's still in his town, L.A. Where he grew up at, so his family can still support him and whatnot. I'm just like okay, bet, like it's cool.
All right. Brandon, what's your thoughts about Russ still staying with the Clippers?
Oh yeah, I'm fine with that. Um, it was 2 years, 8 million, right? So
Yeah.
crazy that Dylan
So for
Brooks
like
got more
4 million
money
per
than
year.
that man. It's crazy. It's real crazy. Dylan Brooks got more money than that man. But I'm happy for Russ though. I think he fits there. He actually not a bad player. Like I know Lakers fans want to put the blame on him, although the fit didn't work and stuff like that. He wasn't really the problem, really. So yeah.
All right, you felt like he was used as the scapegoat. Okay.
Hmm.
Nathan, man, how do you feel about Russ still staying with the Clippers?
I thought it was. I think it had to have come more from him wanting to stay in LA. I think he intentionally took a pay cut because I felt like he could have gotten more money. Maybe it was something that he did from his side, like, hey, let me take a pay cut. I'm just coming off 40 million that I didn't deserve. So let me take this 4 million a year, and it's going to open up cap space, and at the same time, gives you a better chance to win a championship. I think that changes the way we view his career. I think he's about respect right now. I think he took a pay cut intentionally, but like the way I stand with him right now has always been it's not about the fit, it's about the mistakes that he makes on the court being so flagrant. Like the mistakes are like watching some of the plays that he makes, the turnovers, not being aware on defense. I'm not sure how good of a
All
vet
right.
he is in the as far as
Um,
teaching.
Dev, what says you?
Like I question his ability to
It,
raise the team's competitiveness, like the IQ level, like getting the young guys ready.
oh,
I think it's a contract, but I'm just not a fan of Westbrook at this stage in his career. I don't know what he's gonna give you when it comes to him being a starter or him coming off the bench. I just don't like his playing style.
I think with Russ can still give you quality production. I think Russ, if they do decide to trade to get James Harden, according to Woj's report, I don't think Russ wouldn't mind coming off the bench, giving you a solid 18 to 20. I think if you allow Russ to do that, I think he'll be fine. And I think him in LA, he looks at it as this. I'm about to be 35 in November. I've played in the NBA. This is now like my 16th year in the NBA. I probably got a couple more years left. Whether I win a championship or not, let me finish out my career in LA at home. I've made enough money throughout my career. I know my career is cemented. I'm one of the top 75 players of all time. I'm a future first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm a former league MVP. I'm a perennial All-Star. I've led the league in triple doubles multiple times. You know, I think Russ will be fine and will accept his role regardless. So the Clippers and plus Ty Lue has spoken nothing but great things about him. So I think he'll be fine in that regard. Dev, what's your thoughts about the Clippers with Russ?
Oh, I like the move for the Clippers. I like it a lot because what he brings to the Clippers is playmaking and rim pressure, and that's one thing that they were struggling in. And for that move, the
Yeah.
Clippers, to get him on a low deal, so like that's always a good move when you get a guy like that on a lower deal. Is he the same player as he used to? No, but he can. I really do like the move because what he showed in the playoffs, showed in the regular season, is just an overall better fit. The Clippers has a good spacing next to him, and Russell Westbrook has shown that he's better with the spacing, and he doesn't have to be the primary decision maker when you have a Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. You're not relying on Russ to be like the number one option or number two option at this point, and even and if he comes off the bench or a starter, I feel like he can be good in either role, and like now I think he's in this point of his career that he's more willing to come off the bench. So I think it's something that can prolong his career, and like I said, I do think he took a pay cut because I think a team probably offered him a little bit more money, but happy for us because he beat those. He should be at the league allegations.
No, hey,
All
partner,
right.
I just wanted to say
Go ahead.
about Russ. Like from a coaching perspective, like especially me being a coach, like the way I see the game, it's tough to play with a point guard in today's game that can't shoot. Like unless you're 6'10", it's really difficult because we can't hide you in the corner because your man's always sitting in the paint. And at the same time, we put you on the ball, everybody knows go under. So like the way that you use him in the half court, there's no way to use him. Like you
But
got
then again, that
big
same thing with
that
like John Morant, and the thing is, you can still Russell Westbrook has shown like in a half where he be used with his rim pressure pick and roll, and him able to draw attention to the rim and pass out, and that's why I think the Clippers are a good fit because they have ample spacing. Yes, you don't have to guard him fully, but they have this. If this is on the Lakers, yeah, 100%. But I don't think Russ struggles can like because there's other players that can't shoot like on multiple teams. So like when like the Celtics, they don't like people don't really respect Marcus Smart shot. There's people that can shoot, they don't respect the shot. There's gonna be like a player like that on every team where you don't fully respect their shot. Like that's what as a point guard, it's
but
kind of
John
like
Morant mid-range game. He has that floater game. He has that 10 to 15 feet game. Russ's mid-range game has disappeared the past like 4 or 5 years. So
yeah, I agree.
that's non-existent, and he doesn't shoot free throws well. So like the fact that he like that kills his production as a slasher because when he gets to the line, you can put him at the line, he's splitting them. So like, where's the value you're gonna get out of him? He's gonna get you 15, but what does
Well,
that point look like?
this my thing. Like he does have his deficiencies, and he has gotten worse as a player. But the fact that he signed for like PSP mentioned only
Yeah,
4
8
million a
mil.
year, I still think that's a high value because there's other guys in the league who has deficiencies, who has like issues, like like
They
role
making a
players.
ton of money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
like
they
like
make
Dylan
they
like
make a
Dylan
lot
Brooks.
of money.
Like
Like
Dylan
like
Brooks, even though he's an elite defender,
yeah.
offensively, you saw that he's a brick, and like for that, I think Russell Westbrook, him with his flaws, is with the amount of money. It's like that's why I think it's a good deal because it's a be coaching suit. You're not
Mhm.
paying a whole lot of money, so that's why it's just not a bad thing. Because like if he's being paid like his 47 million like he used to be, okay, then that's an issue. That's a
Yeah,
big issue.
huge issue.
Right.
I
It's
agree. As far as the money
It's
percent,
and plus he's coming off the bench too. If he's coming off the bench, then it's like you're not really relying on him to be like a big part of the offense, big
Right.
role. You just want Russell Westbrook to maintain that lead or just to run that second unit and have your big guys, your big guns, carrying the team. Because that's the thing. I think Russell Westbrook at a point in the career where he's not as a coach, he's not your first, second, maybe not even third option anymore. So that's why I think you can work with this on this type of team. That's like a well-rounded stacked team like the Clippers. If it's any other team, then I would kind of agree with you more. But the Clippers have like a very good roster where I feel like you
And
can find a way to work
so,
around it.
so you don't feel like he's gonna bring anything negative to that locker room. Like let's say he doesn't get any time for 10 straight games. He's getting 15 minutes a game, 10 straight games. You don't think there's going to be a certain level of negativity he brings to the locker room? You don't think he's going to
Uh,
negative like body language? Like you don't think it's going to have a negative impact maybe on the young guys when he comes into the locker room and he has his head down? Like I'm not sure if bring him in to just ride the bench because he has the highest turnover rate in the league. Like that's crazy.
That is true.
Low free throw shooting, and at the same time, he doesn't provide any spacing off the ball, on the ball, and then he's also missing layups now. It's not like when he gets to the cup, we're like, this is a lock. He's gonna make the layup. Like we've gotten to a point where we almost question like he's a wild finisher. Even his handle is like a little suspect. Like he's exciting to watch though. From
mhm.
that perspective as a fan, like watching him even mess up is exciting. But like from a basketball mind perspective, like when I have him on the court as a coach, I'm uncomfortable. Like close game, we down 29 seconds left. Is he gonna make the right decision? Like if I have him in the game, like for him to be this old and I'm still thinking like, is Russ gonna make the right decision? I think it's over for him.
And
Go
oh,
ahead.
you
I
got
think
PSP.
he's like the Carmelo situation. It's like Carmelo. Like Carmelo can still probably score now, but do you want him on your roster? Is he going to play defense? Nah. Like, what does having him on your roster really do? Like, I
Go
feel the
ahead,
same
Dev.
way with Russ.
Okay, but well, I guess what he showed because I guess because the thing is, yeah, I agree with you, but I feel like the things on the Lakers because he's a lot happier on the Clippers. He's just a lot because he was literally being used as scapegoat and people was coming at him the fans at his family, so
Skip
that's gonna
Bayless.
affect you. There's coming at his family and disrespecting his name because
True.
regardless, it's okay to get criticism, criticize another man, because he can criticize them as players, but when you go after the family, then it kind of affects you a different way. So and that's no excuse for the bad play. I'm not excusing the bad play, but also Russ. I think his defense has, his defense. He can provide good defense like he showed in the playoffs. He's playing exceptional defense in that playoff series, and he showed that he can still bring value in the highest stage of the playoffs. Yes, they lost the series, but if they had a Kawhi and or a PG, the series would look a whole lot different because he was playing really well
Oh,
with the spacing, the off
sure.
ball, and decision making. That's the thing. You don't have to have him in the game, and I don't think he's going to get 15 DPIs, and I don't think Ty Lue's are not going to play him. And Russell Westbrook always been a high energetic guy. He's never been a guy that's to bring negativity. Reports have saying he's a very good teammate. Even guys from team to team, people from Washington to OKC to Houston, people saying that's the best team I ever had. Russell Westbrook type of guy is a teammate that Russell Westbrook type of player you would love to have in your team, personality wise, on your team. But you hate to play against him. He's always gonna have his guys back no matter what. I see him fight for other players that have him back. And I agree with you with the questions on the court with the turnovers, this, that, and is someone that queen?
That's you, Dev.
That's me.
Yeah, that's you. You're the only one talking.
Oh dang!
Yeah,
Oh,
but
and
go
everything
ahead.
else, but I do think his value. I just think Ty Lue is a good enough coach to find a way. And what else? This Clippers team is really all about health. I think health is
That's the
the main
problem.
concern
Yeah.
because that's the thing with the Russell Westbrook. Because with your concerns, I don't think we can see. I don't think we'll be able to see those concerns that you have because this team is always unhealthy. If that makes sense, I think we have to wait and see because I don't know if Russell Westbrook can be a negative because there's nothing to go based off because we haven't seen this team fully healthy yet. If that makes sense.
No, I'm with you.
No,
Formate
I
off.
mean, go ahead, John.
At the end of the day,
So, I'm not saying your opinions
right.
not valid because they 100% are, and I'm just going based on the sense that I gotta see it first because I mean obviously see it with this team. See it with this team because we haven't had a full sample size of this team healthy because I feel like their main concern
It's
other than
health.
Westbrook potentially could be the health that which has been for this whole 10-year Kawhi and PG. They just need to stay healthy.
Right. And Nate, you bring a great point with Russ as far as with the efficiency. I thought Russ, his first year with the Lakers, other than his deficiencies, I didn't think he'd take enough accountability for his performance. But
Mm-hmm.
I do think there were times, particularly Skip Bayless went over the line too far by calling him Westbrook. He was the one who actually called Russell Westbrook and stuff. And I felt like he just went too far and it got too personal. But when I look at Russ with the Clippers, it was a rejuvenation for him because he's still in LA, but with a different organization, a different franchise, different teammates. Too many times with the Lakers, I felt like he was used as a scapegoat. Not saying that his production, his play wasn't bad because it was, but I felt like there were a lot of other factors with the Lakers. I mean, Anthony Davis's injuries, the fact that Frank Vogel, I thought he was also used as a scapegoat as well because anyone who knows Frank Vogel
Yeah,
knows he's known for defense, and there wasn't enough defense at the time, and they let
defensive
go of
personnel.
some right, and they let go of some good pieces on the defense on the perimeter, particularly Caruso and KCP. But I do think with Russ, he's finally found a home, and he's gonna probably retire in the next couple of years. So I think Russ is going to be happy with what he's doing, and this is a decision that he made for himself. So I think he'll be fine. But anyway, folks, we got to move on to
Oh, you saw my message,
another.
PSP?
Yeah, I saw your message. Yeah, thank you for hopping on, Dev, man, and plus, let them know where to follow you.
Of course, of course. Sideline Convos on YouTube. Personal channel coming soon. But yeah, you guys support all these folks up here. Support PSP, the Double Dribble podcast. And I don't know y'all two's information. I apologize.
Yes, sir. The Double Dribble Podcast. Appreciate you, Dev.
But yeah, I gotta go handle some business real quick. If you're still live, I'll hop back on. Don't know how long this take, but
Yeah, I
I'll
know
see you
because
next
we
time.
I gotta wrap it up real soon because Dub's podcast is about to go on at 10. So
Okay, I
he's
got
got
you.
like this. Yeah,
All right, I'll catch y'all later. I'll catch you
no
in Discord
problem,
and
man.
stuff.
Take it easy, man.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, fellas, let's talk about LaMelo Ball. It says right here, according to Woj, the Charlotte Hornets All-Star guard LaMelo Ball has agreed in principle on a 5-year designated rookie max extension that could be worth as much as $260 million. His agent, Sam Permute of Rock Nation Sports, tells ESPN. Ball, the 2021 Rookie of the Year, joins draft classmates Tyrese Halliburton and Desmond Bain with max deals. So, Coach Dante, I'm gonna let you go first. What's your thoughts about the whole deals with LaMelo?
I think LaMelo Ball. I applaud him from getting this money. He's been a little bit injury riddled throughout the past couple of years, and I don't know if the Charlotte Hornets are the right destination for him to resign. I don't see them elevating anywhere soon. Even that the week is getting the East is not that all that good. How many teams you think that will be Eastern Conference Finals contender? No more than three. No more than three. Boston, Miami, depends on. Even with still without Damian Lillard, you will still count Miami as a contender because 2 out of the 4 years they've been to the finals. You got Boston. Outside of those three, who else is title contenders? Everybody else is about second round at best. But Charlotte, possibilities, they haven't gotten better. They're going to lose Kelly Oubre, who was a big loss for them, who averaged 20 points per game. So I'm happy that LaMelo Ball got his money. He's also been injury rattled. When he does plays, he's fun to watch. But other than that, I just don't think Charlotte is a good destination for him, and I don't see anything getting better at Charlotte. I know you got Miles Bridges right back, who was a big help for them a couple of years ago, but it just really doesn't move the needle for me in Charlotte. But other than that, I'm just happy LaMelo Ball got his money, hoping he can stay healthy. But Charlotte, you don't look at them as a serious threat. At best, you don't look at them as a serious threat at all in the Eastern Conference.
All right, Dusto, how do you feel, man?
Man, just what Coach said in the beginning, I applaud Melo for getting this money. I saw a graphic earlier that showed that Melo and this contract that he's getting for 260, was it for 5 years or 4 years?
Yes, 5 years.
Yeah, for 5 years. That's more than that MJ made in his entire career, like playing it, like I mean, at least NBA money wise. And that just shows the growth of the league, the popularity, the how much like the people before them paved the way for them to have these secure contracts. And Melo, I think, and just like, I don't know if you probably gonna mention it, but he got like the same contract as Tyrese Halliburton, the same amount of years, same
Yeah,
amount of
yeah.
money.
Let me look it up
I
right
mean,
now.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's right at 5 years for 260. And I think those both point guards of the future, they came in the same draft. They both have been all-stars. They're both consistent when they healthy, and they got a lot of growth ahead of them. So I think it's a good contract. Like we said, like we're gonna eventually see $300 million contracts, $500 million contracts. Like I think we already got one in the NFL right now. So
Yeah, 5-year 260.
for
Same thing with
Tyrese,
LaMelo and Tyrese Halliburton.
yeah, yeah. So they both
So
on similar
I
contract.
yeah,
Yeah. So I'm just saying, especially as a fan of Melo, I like that he secured the bag, and he still got some work to put in, but overall, I'm not mad at the contract. I'm happy for him.
I'm not mad at it at all. And Nathan, before I let you go, you know who's kicking themselves in the butt? The New York Knicks.
Yeah,
because
no.
they should have drafted Halliburton with the 8th overall pick, and now they're trading who they drafted with the 8th overall pick, Obi Toppin. So
To the
I
Pacers.
mean,
To play with Tyrese
yeah,
Halliburton.
to the Pacers. So I mean, the Knicks. I mean, I get it. Obi Toppin, he's an athletic dude, and he's from Brooklyn, so that sells. But the Knicks at that time, you needed production at that point guard spot. So Nathan, what's your thoughts about the LaMelo and the Tyrese Halliburton deals?
I think they're fair. I think Tyrese has proven that he can play this game. Obviously, 20 and 10, 40% from three. That's definitely a $50 million per year player. And he can play defense. He's tall for his position. So I think it's fair as far as play. As long as he doesn't get hurt, that's $50 million per year production to me. But for
All
LaMelo,
right.
it's more as far as play, he hasn't done enough for me because he's still not that efficient of a scorer around the rim yet. I think there's a bit of growth he has to do as a leader. But he's worth the money because at the end of the day, the kids love him. The kids love LaMelo. Like he sells, like he has a sneaker deal. Like his Puma sneaker deal, he's like kids really, really like him. So as far as marketability, sometimes we ignore that as fans. Like we forget that there's a market for him. I don't think it affects our generation as much as the young generation, but they love LaMelo. So the $50 million is like, hey, like Charlotte is more than happy to pay it. They're gonna sell jerseys, and that's the
All right.
most.
Yeah, I mean, especially, I mean, with the Hornets, considering the fact that Michael Jordan sold ownership of the team, I mean, you got to find something in order to sell tickets. And LaMelo, happy for the Ball family, and big shouts out to LeVar Ball. You know, he took a lot of heat, a lot of criticism, man. But hey, he loves his kids. I mean, he's a great father, wants the best for his kids. I mean, he put LaMelo international basketball. I think this is really good. Unfortunately for Lonzo, man, he's out. He's expected to miss the entire season, and it's really sad because Lonzo was turning around his career, and he was working on his jump shot. He was working on a lot of other things. Great contributor for the Pelicans and for Chicago, but man, just can't catch a break, man. So, fellas, one last subject, and we're gonna wrap up the show. Start, bench, or cut. Zion Williamson, John Morant, Anthony Edwards. Desto, I'm gonna let you go first. Which one of the three would you start, bench, or cut?
I'm starting Anthony Edwards for sure, without a doubt. Bench and cut, man. This is interesting. If I gotta factor in everything, injuries, production, off court antics. I'm a damn. Starting Ant. I'm a in this hypothetical scenario. Are they all healthy?
Nah,
If they're all healthy, yes.
So the you wait.
However you want to do it. However you want to do it.
no.
Okay,
The whole
if you're gonna guarantee me health,
there's no pressure. There's no pressure now. You know, like I feel like you gotta go with Zion. Like he's the guy. Like if
yeah,
there's health is not involved, like you change the whole question. For me, I'm benching Ja. Because guns put you in prison. You know what I mean? Like women put you in trouble, but guns put you in prison. And I feel like with him, he just can't.
hold on, wait. You say you starting Zion?
I'm starting Zion. If injuries don't matter, I'm starting Zion Williamson. At the end of
Wait,
the day,
you cutting Anthony Edwards?
no, I'm not cutting Anthony. I'm cutting Ja.
Oh, I thought you said you benching Ja. I thought you said you benching Ja. I mean,
No, I'm cutting Ja.
Oh,
okay.
whoa, what? Wait, what did I just come back into? What?
Yeah, so I'm
Wait, Nathan.
so
Just to be
You cutting
clear,
Ja?
you want to start Zion Williamson. Help.
If he was healthy, I'm taking Zion.
I wouldn't cut.
If he's healthy, because
Hey.
health changes the whole question. I don't. If he
Yeah.
comes healthy and he can play the whole year, give me Zion.
yeah. So yeah, my starting bench cut. I'm starting Ant. I'm a bench Zion. I'm a cut Ja.
All right. Dante, I'm gonna let you go. Start, bench, or cut between Zion, Ja, and Anthony Edwards.
As of right now, I'm gonna just go off right now. I'm gonna start Anthony Edwards. That's no brainer. This guy's already a superstar in the league. I just don't want him to waste his talent in Minnesota. Just don't want to waste it. I just got a feeling he's going to be wasting his talent in Minnesota. They're not very good. Not very good. They're going to be at the bottom of the West. They're going to be competing for 8. They're going to be no more than the playing tournament team. That's all there is. They're nothing more. But that guy's going to be that guy's going to be a superstar. So that's obvious. If I had to go right now, I'm gonna put my savings on Ja Morant because he's on the court more. He's on the court more for Memphis. I feel like Zion Williamson, he's too big. He's too big. His weight gonna cause him with a lot of injuries. If he stays on the court, yes, that's a no-brainer. You will take Zion, but as of right now, I'm gonna go by right now. I'm gonna take Ja Morant because he's more available. He just having off the court issues. Zion has both off the court issues and injury issues. So I'm gonna start Anthony Edwards and go with Ja Morant and bench Ja Morant.
All right, Nathan, start, bench, or cut between Zion, Anthony Edwards, Ja Morant.
Like, are we including health, or are we saying just in general right now?
However you want to do it. However you want to do it.
Health-wise, you gotta start with Ant. But I know he's gonna, like, even just the way he is in that locker room, he has like a mature voice there. Even though he's young, which like is really positive. So you got to start with. I would. It sucks to say this, but I'll take my chances with Zion on the bench. I think he is that great. Like, I don't think 60% shooting. Like, you got 27 points a game. Like, the way that he does it, and he's so young too. He's still 22. I feel like I got to take my chances with him. Like, we forget he's 22 years old. Like, just like we forget too. But I've never seen anyone like Zion. Like, I've seen guys like Ja, and they always end up on a stretcher for some reason. You see guys like Derrick Rose. Those highly athletic point guards tend to have short careers also. So it's not like Ja hasn't missed time with injury either. I'm going with Zion, man. I'm cutting Ja.
All right, Brandon.
I'm starting Ant, benching Ja, and I'm cutting Zion. I think Anthony Edwards the better shooter.
Zion. Okay.
Yeah, I'm cutting Zion.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I think Ant's the better shooter. Ja Morant, I love his game. Underrated playmaker. If he just work on his 3-point shooting, the dude will be elite. I mean, I think he's elite already, but like if he just work on his shooting, he'll be phenomenal. And Zion, man, his off the court issues, man. He's great when healthy though, but it's just the issues.
But how crazy is it that he misses so much time? And like, it's like once he gets on the court, it's immediate. Like, how crazy is that? Like, he can miss, like, even last
He's played
year, like
114 games. Right.
And
he's played 114 games in 4 years in his entire career. So that's like a little over 28 games per game he's played. But I agree with Brandon. Start Anthony Edwards. I like Anthony Edwards. I think he has the higher ceiling among those two, even though Zion and Ja had huge ceilings as well. I think Anthony Edwards is right up there when healthy. Well, hold on. We got another guest on the list.
Uh-oh.
Leaf
Diggy.
How you doing, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you. I'm just driving. Headed to the house right now. I'm gonna be back on. What's the word? What I missed?
We talked about the ESPN layoffs. We talked about free agency, and we just wrapping up the podcast right here. We'll start bench or cut. Zion, Ja, or Anthony Edwards. Which one of the three would you start bench or cut?
Oh wow. Well, we're gonna have to start Anthony Edwards because he ain't about the buns and guns lifestyle. We're gonna start Anthony Edwards because I think he on to something. I'm gonna have to listen. I'm gonna have to bench Ja, and then we're gonna have to cut Zion because I still believe Ja Morant is gonna play more games than Zion regardless. So yeah, we're gonna have to do that.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I agree with you there, Leaf. Start Anthony Edwards because he's the most durable, and we all know in the name of the game, availability is the best ability.
It's the best ability.
I think I think Anthony Edwards can get you 26, 27. I just think they need to build the team more around him than Carl Anthony Towns. And I like Cat though, but I think it's time for him to go elsewhere. Bench
I think it's
Ja
time for them to
Morant.
move off of Cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo,
Bench Ja Morant. Go ahead.
my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to bring up Joel Embiid, who missed his first 2 years. You know, at the end of the day,
Mhm.
like I think we got to give him a
I,
little time. He's big
I
though.
know,
I like
but here's the
240.
thing, Nathan, where I disagree with you with Joel Embiid and Zion. Zion's game is predicated on athleticism. And the problem with him,
And
I've said it
brute
before,
strength.
man,
Yeah.
his weight. He was that big coming out of Duke. So if you're that big coming out of college, imagine what you're going to be in the NBA. And plus, Zion's been over 300 pounds before. I think
God
Zion, if
damn.
he wants to maximize his potential, he's got to get down to 250. And the person that he should talk to is Charles Barkley, because Charles, coming out of college and entering into the NBA, he had weight issues, and he said the
Uh huh.
story countless times. Moses Malone told him, "You fat and lazy," and ultimately he lost about like 50 pounds and helped him resurrect his career. Zion, I believe he has tremendous potential, but we don't see him out on the court as much. And Mars, he brought up a point. I don't know if Mars actually said it. I think he did. Brandon Ingram is a better number one than Zion.
Oh, 100%.
Right.
100%. But
So go ahead.
Brent, Brandon is a special player. I not to stray away from like the conversation, but Brandon, I almost put in that like fringe superstar, like reaching distance to Kevin Durant type game. Like he's right there. He's 7 feet with a handle, and he's improving his playmaking. So he's special. But like, I don't think there's anything wrong with being behind Brandon. I think that what what Zion does is so like we've never seen anything like it. I think like I would take a
I
chance,
feel you.
see where it goes. Like I've never seen anything like a 260-pound guy who jumps 40 inches like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I've never seen
But
it before. Answers with that, as opposed to Ja, I've seen players with his mold before. I don't think John Moran is better than D Rose. Like,
no,
Mm.
not yet. I don't think he's there yet. I think John Morant, he still has some time to develop in his game. But I just like Ja, even though he has the off the court issues with the gun situation, I trust him to be on that court more than I trust Zion. The whole thing with Zion off the court with the adult film star Mariah Mills, I mean, it's embarrassing that he put himself in this situation. And again, if you Zion, given the type of money that you have, why would you affiliate yourself with an adult film star? That woman's crazy. I've said before, man, that woman crazy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when she got a tattoo on her face, tattoo of her face with Zion's name on it. But hey, man, you got to be careful with the type of woman that you're with. Ja, on the other hand, man, I thought after what he went through, there's no way he's gonna put himself in that situation. But Lord and behold, he did. Anthony Edwards, even though he had some, I think he had that situation with the Denver game, him being eliminated in game 5. There was the other situation last year in which I had a problem with what he said, but I trust Anthony Edwards a lot more out on the court because I think he has the higher ceiling because of the durability. He's the better shooter than those two. He can give you 26, 27 a night. Ja is capable of giving you that. So I would start Anthony Edwards, bench Ja, cut Zion. When healthy, I think Zion has the most potential, but them injuries and a lot of it is predicated on his weight. And he's in New Orleans. If anyone's been in New Orleans, they got some good food. That shrimp, gumbo, jambalaya, etouffee. I mean, New Orleans. I mean, got some good food, man. I mean, ain't no
Yeah,
joke. I mean,
definitely.
Be eating good. I say that.
he ain't good. I mean, he got to be. I mean, he's 300 pounds for a reason. But I hope Zion turns around his career, man. But fellas, that concludes the rest of the show. Thank y'all for hopping on. I definitely will invite y'all on the show, especially during August and September, because we all know football season is almost around the corner. I know
Definitely.
y'all big football fans, so we're gonna talk about that. Um, Desto, tell the
Yes.
fans where to follow you, my man.
Oh yeah. Me and one of my friends, we do a show kind of similar to this. It's on YouTube. You can check us out. It's at Double Dribble Podcast. We You can follow us on Instagram at Double Dribble Pod, and you can follow me on IG at Desto with like 5 O's. But yeah, I appreciate you letting me on. It's been cool panel, very knowledgeable guys. I definitely want to be back. That's for sure.
Definitely, that's for sure. And any type of news, breaking news, we'll definitely have you on the podcast. Always check on the StreamYard link on the comment section below. Brendan from the Block, man, where to follow you, my man. And of course, we all know you do your podcast every Monday nights at 7. Go check them out. Where to follow you, man.
For sure. Tomorrow I got starting well, I got my own podcast called The Throwdown. You can follow me on YouTube, Brandon from the Block.
Okay.
Follow me on Instagram, bband923, TikTok bband923. And yeah, man, if y'all want to come on the show, PSP be on as well, coming on as well. If y'all want to come on, just let me know, man. Hit me up.
All right. Coach Dante, where to follow you, my man. And thank you again for hopping on to the pod.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at Coach Dante31. If y'all want me on the show, y'all DM me, man. I'm one message away. Y'all can find me at Coach Dante on YouTube. Y'all can find me Coach Dante on TikTok and all that, man. So appreciate y'all, man. And trust me, I'm a subscribe to each and every one of y'all up here if y'all got channels and stuff like that. And I will be
For
coming
sure.
on. Appreciate you, PSP, for allowing me to come on, man.
Anytime, man. And my cousin, for those of you who may not know, my cousin Nathan, go check him out. He does a lot of big sports things and stuff, man. Where to follow you, my man.
Yeah, so follow me on IG. I actually don't have a YouTube page, but I do a lot of training with a lot of pro athletes. I had a chance to work with Christian Braun before he got to the Nuggets, which was great.
That's
So
what's
a
up.
lot of it is like from that side. Like I love training. Like I love like being in the thick of things with the players. I feel like that's where I feel like the happiest. In all honesty, like you know how when you play the game or you try to stay around the game.
Mhm.
Um, but as far as being on the show, appreciate it. Like I've been trying to get on so my cousin's pod for a while, just because again it's great to talk sports with people who know sports. You know how it is. Like
Definitely.
once you know sports and no one else around you knows sports, it's real tough to like have them conversations. So it's like it's tough to have like um good convo about sports with people who know what they're talking about. So yeah, definitely follow me, John Superman on IG if you just want
How you spell it?
Oh yeah,
J O.
you can put it on the comment section below, man.
Oh,
Yes.
All right, man. Fellas, thanks for having me on. I'm gonna read these last comments. Mad
Johnson.
Max Sports Talk and the best shooting guard in the league. He was referring to Anthony Edwards. Anyone who knows Mad Max knows he is a diehard Anthony Edwards fan. Anthony Edwards definitely got a lot of mad potential, man. He definitely has what it takes. He said top 10 in the league. I don't know about top 10 in the league, Mad Max Sports Talk. Maybe he's definitely somewhere around that top 20, but I think Anthony Edwards, if Carl Anthony Towns departs, I do think I agree with, and Leaf agree with me. I think you got to make him as the number one scoring option. When I look at Anthony Edwards, he reminds me in some ways D Wade based on the scoring ability and the athleticism. Better shooter than D Wade coming out early, but I think Anthony Edwards got serious mad potential. And of course, goaded. Go to JJ. Go check him out on his YouTube. Go check him out, man. Great show. Thank you again, man. We'll definitely have you on the podcast. You crazy as hell by saying Kyler Murray number one overall, with your number one quarterback, but we'll save that for another time, man. But fellas, thank y'all for hopping on to the pod. It's your boy Sports PSP. Go like and follow and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sports PSP. Go follow each and every one of their content. Nathan, Desto, Brandon from the Block, Coach Dante. Please go follow me
Yes,
on
sir.
YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. The list goes on and on and on and on, man. And hold up, we got one more comment, I think. Comment. Yeah, go to stop it. He's not number one. It's Mahomes and it's the class by himself, man.
Facts.
Stop trying to troll the people, man. You're the same person who said Jaylen Brown is better than Jason Tatum. I'm not buying that.
Ooh-wee.
But anyway, folks, it's the end of the podcast. Thank you all for hopping on. We done. Peace out. And